Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jonathan, and in today's video we are going to be looking at this. This is the Victorinox Pioneer X Alox version, and this one happens to be in a limited edition orange, and we're about to find out whether this should be my new everyday carry knife of choice.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In terms of packaging, the standard knife comes in a box like this. This is, I guess you'd call it practical and functional. It just fits the knife, but the limited edition comes in something a little bit more impressive, which would make a much better gift. If we have a look inside, you have the knife itself sat in a foam insert to make it a little bit more collectible, and underneath that you have the Victorinox information leaflet. This is a limited edition from 2021, as you can see from the engraving there. Normally that space on a Victorinox allows you to engrave something, but for the limited edition it comes with the year of manufacture. This year is orange, and I have to say it looks much better in the flesh than it does in the images and the photographs. It's a kind of stronger orange than I was expecting. The Alox limited edition is released each year in a specific colour, but only across 3 of the different models. Those models being the Hunter Pro, the Classic, and also the Pioneer X. This colour is only available in the limited edition models, with the exception of the Classic, which is now available in 10 different colours, plus the silver colour as well. So what is the Alox version of a Victorinox knife? Well, the first Alox knife to be introduced was the Pioneer in 1957, so the Alox model was introduced over 60 years ago. The obvious difference is the scales. So these scales are embossed aluminium. The scales are then treated with a process known as anodic oxidation, and that creates an additional protective layer to prevent damage and corrosion. And that's when the colour can be introduced for these limited edition models at the point of oxidation. The Alox knife range consists of about 12 models across a whole range of different sizes, right from the 58mm Classic, and there's also an 84mm Alox, a 74, a 93, which is this size, and also 136mm in the Hunter Pro. So the purpose of this video is to determine whether the Pioneer X should replace my everyday carry choice, which at the moment is the Victorinox Compact. This is the Victorinox Compact, so you can very easily see it is a very similar size. You'll notice straight away that the scales are thinner on the Alox versions, and that reduces the thickness of the knife, which is a great thing. However, when you have these scales, these thinner scales, you lose the scale tools that we see in the more traditional Victorinox knives. So in this case, which is the Victorinox Compact, the scale tools consist of tweezers, a pressurized pen, a toothpick, which I've replaced here with a ferro rod, and then behind the corkscrew we have the concealed pin. So although these scales are much thinner, the drawback is you lose some of the functionality by not having the traditional red Celador or ABS scales. The other big difference about the Alox is in the tool set. Although the tools look very similar, they are actually different and they are heavier duty. The first thing to look at is the blade. The blade on here follows the normal drop point. Some people have talked about this being a spear point, and I think the jury is still out to some extent, although a spear point has to be exactly symmetrical as far as I know, and this is not quite. So I'm going to refer to this as a drop point. It's the shape you find in most Victorinox knives, and if we compare the two side by side, you can see immediately that the Alox version is slightly longer and slightly broader. So immediately you can see it's a bit more of a heavy duty knife. And then when you look at it from the top down, you can actually see that it's thicker as well. And so it is a thicker blade, a longer blade and a wider blade. And you'll also see that the Pioneer is slightly angled, and it does that to avoid the awl, which we'll come to in a minute, whereas a more traditional Victorinox has a blade that comes straight out, and this is angled by just a couple of degrees off center. No problem in the operation, and it's hard to spot sometimes, but you can see immediately that the blade is wider on the Alox, longer and also thicker, and it feels more heavy duty in the hand. Also, the tension, the spring tension, is greater on the Alox. If I put this one back in, there's more tension there, and it goes in with more force. If I do that on here, it's not quite as much. You can hear it in the sound it makes. This one has got more tension. It actually feels more sturdy in the hand. The X stands for scissors. So as you might know from previous videos, I am a massive fan of the Victorinox scissors, as are many of you, and I wouldn't carry a Victorinox knife without scissors. The first thing to notice is actually the nail nick on the Alox is on the opposite side. So here's the nail nick on this one. You can see it's actually on the opposite side. Other than that, the scissors appear to be identical in size and thickness, and the shape is the same, and there's nothing wrong in that. The scissors on the Victorinox are extremely good, and they're very sharp straight out of the box. They can cut paracord really easily, as you can see, and also short cord, which has rubber strands in, which can stop a lot of scissors from doing their job. It just cuts through it so easily. So this is why I love the Victorinox scissors so much. They're actually really practical. So the scissors are the same, and that's no bad thing. And then when we move on to the other tools, I'm going to have to bring out a different knife because the Compact has a combination tool. So this is what most Victorinox have, whereas the Compact combines both of these tools into one, and it's why I like it so much. So I'm going to use the Explorer here with the traditional cap lifter and can opener, which I can then compare with the Pioneer X. Okay, so comparing the blades on the Explorer, the can opener stroke screwdriver stroke Phillips screwdriver looks identical in terms of its profile. To me, it looks like it is slightly thicker on the Pioneer. I'd need to get a micrometer to be absolutely sure because there's hardly anything in it, but it does look just a little bit thicker. But it's very hard to spot. Let me know in the comments if you know for sure, but that's how it looks for me. It's a little bit of a different story with the larger flathead screwdriver. There is a clear size difference here. As you can see, the Alox is exactly the same profile, but is a little bit bigger and thicker, and there is definitely some additional thickness to the tool itself and a little bit of additional length and width. So this is a heavier duty screwdriver, and this is a flathead screwdriver stroke pry tool stroke wire stripper stroke bottle opener. This is a tool I really like, and yeah, this is heavier duty. You'll notice it locks in the 90-degree position, which you'll find on all Victorinox knives, so you can get some additional leverage if you are using it in that way. Okay, what other tools do we have on here? Well, we only have one more, and that is this inline awl, and this is a fantastic tool. It's got a bit of an edge to it. It's a great scraper. You can use it with a ferro rod. You can obviously use it as a portable hand drill effectively, and making holes in stuff. You can use it as a package cutter if you don't want to get the main blade out, and it works really well for that. And I really like this, and the fact that it's in an inline profile works really well. And you'll notice when it's folded away, it's so well engineered in terms of getting it into this very compact set of tools. This is why the main blade is slightly offset to allow this to fit, and it doesn't really have a nail nick. The whole length of the blade, you can grab it because it kind of overlaps the scale slightly. And I really like this tool. It just feels really well made. The inline means it's easier to use. And this is a real plus for this knife. And the reason why a lot of people like these Alox so much because of this awl. And the awl is sadly missing from my Compact. It would be nice to have that included, but no. And just to summarize the entire tool set, we have the knife, the can opener, screwdriver, stroke Phillips screwdriver, we have the scissors, the awl, and the pry tool flathead screwdriver with wire stripper and cap lifter. Okay, let's have a quick look at the tool set on this Victorinox Compact. Now the Compact is my everyday carry choice of knife. And here we have the main blade and the scissors. We also have a combination tool here, which is a can opener and cap lifter and flathead screwdriver, and at the point here a Phillips head screwdriver. It's also a wire stripper and a small pry tool, so a lot of functionality in that one tool. Here we have some tweezers, and here we have the hook, which can be used to pull shoelaces tight, or perhaps lift a hot pot off a stove, or pull out tent pegs, or carry things. It was originally designed to carry parcels which were wrapped in string. Then we have the corkscrew, obviously good for pulling corks out of bottles, but can also carry other tools, such as the eyeglass screwdriver here. You'll notice I've also got this, which is some tinder in the corkscrew, and the reason for that is on this side where the toothpick used to be, I've got a ferro rod, so used in conjunction with the tinder I can start a fire with this knife. And if you want to see that in action and a full review of this compact knife, then just check out this link here. In addition to the ferro rod, there is also a pen here with a pressurized refill. So this particular knife has a lot of functionality. So the big question is, which is better for everyday carry? A heavier duty tool or a little bit of a lighter duty tool set with effectively less tools but some additional functionality in the scale tools? And this is a bit of a dilemma for me because I love both of these tools, and trying to decide which one is the best for everyday carry is quite a struggle. I mean, do let me know in the comments what you think out of these two, and if you think there is another tool that is more suitable for everyday carry in the Victorinox range. I should point out that the form factor for me is very important. So this 91-93mm combination here is around about the perfect size. I think any smaller than that and you lose some practicality, any larger than that and it becomes a bit awkward for everyday carry. The other thing that I think is important is the width as well. This is a 3-layer Victorinox knife in the Pioneer X, and this is actually a 2-layer Victorinox knife in the Compact. And the interesting thing is the width is pretty much identical, and the reason for that is, although this is 3-layer, the scales are thinner than the more traditional Victorinox knife. The scales here are thicker and that increases the width. The benefit is obviously the scale tools that you get with that. So they are a very similar width and a very similar length. Just in terms of dimensions for the Pioneer X, we've got 93mm long, as you can see here. In terms of the thickness for this 3-layer knife, you've got 14mm, and this width here, including the blade bulge, is 22mm. So the big question is it the Compact or is it the Pioneer X? Well, there is one more factor which I've not mentioned, and that is the weight. Let's have a look at that, because that is key when it comes to everyday carry. And the weight for the Compact, it's shown here 69 grams. Let's compare that with the Pioneer X, 93. So that is quite a bit difference. It's nearly 50% more. So the size is pretty much the same. The weight is a big advantage for the Compact. And then it's down to the tool set. Which do you prefer? Do you want the all? In which case you're looking at the Pioneer X, which is really the only tool that this has that this one doesn't, if you accept the compromises around the combination tool. So when comparing the two, the Pioneer X has the benefit of the better, stronger, heavier duty tools and that brilliant all. However, if you compare the Pioneer X with the Compact, what are you missing? Well, you're going to be missing the eyeglass screwdriver, the corkscrew, the tweezers, the pressurized pen, the toothpick, if you like that sort of thing, or the fact that you can swap it with a ferro rod, and the pin under the corkscrew, the hook, and this hook actually has a file on the back of it as well. So you're actually missing out on quite a lot of functionality, as well as the fact that the Compact is much lighter than the Pioneer X. And when you think about it as an everyday carry tool that's in your pocket all the time, that actually is a really important feature. So which is the winner for my everyday carry choice? Well, it's going to remain the Compact. I absolutely love the Pioneer X, but for EDC, the extra weight is unwelcome. And also I can live without the all, but the additional functionality I get with the Compact makes it the winner for me. Things like the pen, the tweezers, the micro screwdriver. Okay, the hook I don't use a lot, and the corkscrew is there if I need it. The pin hidden away, I've used that a couple of times. So the additional functionality for an EDC knife that's lighter weight than the Pioneer X makes this my EDC winner. Having said that, the Pioneer X is a fantastic knife. It is so well made. The tools are heavy duty and really capable, and I am going to find room for this in one of my many kits. It's a delight to own. Whatever you choose, you can't go far wrong with either of these. Both of these are really capable knives. If you're a heavy duty user, you'll probably go for that. If you prefer a little bit more functionality and the reduced weight, then you're probably going to do what I do and go for that. So the Pioneer X in its silver form retailed in the UK around about £35, including tax, and it is a similar price to the Compact. Some people think the Compact's a little bit overpriced compared to other Victorinox knives, and I don't know why that is, but I actually think it's really good value. So these are actually priced at a similar level. If you want a limited edition, you're going to be spending a little bit more. This was £55, including tax, and it does look really good, and that colour works with brown leather perhaps a little bit better if that's your thing, and whichever one you go for, you won't be disappointed. So in conclusion, the Pioneer X is a brilliant knife, one of the best Victorinox do, I would say, and so is the Compact. The Compact remains my EDC knife of choice, primarily because of the functionality and the reduced weight compared to the Pioneer X, but either would be a perfect choice. So there you have it, the Victorinox Pioneer X Alox. I hope that's been useful. If you enjoy this sort of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps. You could do that now by clicking the link here. And if you want to be kept updated as new videos are released, then please hit the notification bell. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.